Hi, Dr. Brian Lillenquist here with Legacy Medical Consultants. Want to talk quickly about measuring a wound and then the CPT code that you need to perform before you place a graft. When we measure a wound, we need to keep convention. And we go north, south, east, west when we're not using a digital measuring tool. And you should measure it the same way every week because that's the only way you're going to see changes in shrinkage. Some people teach to measure the biggest parts of the wound always. Well, if you think about that and you have this kind of weird geography of the wound, you could have the same measurements for weeks, and that's not really accurate. By measuring north, south, east, west, and capturing the open area of the wound, you're always going to be able to justify the graft that you place on it, and you're going to track the healing as well. So north, south, this would measure 6 because the widest part there is 6 by 8 because the widest part is 8. So even though this isn't a perfectly oval 6 by 8 wound, by doing it this way, you'll have enough material to cover that wound. Anything excessive, you can cut it off and J-code it, or I think it's J-code the waist, or you can just tuck it back over the redundant pieces into the wound. It certainly doesn't help anything. Now, when we talk about a wound like this, we've got 2 codes to graft. We've got the surgical code, which is, in this case, we use 15271. That's anything on your trunk, your arms, or your legs. 15275 would be hands, feet, scalp. And so let's pretend that this wound is on a leg. So we know we're going to use 15271. That code indicates that the total open surface area of the wound is 100 square centimeters or less. And it covers the preparation for receipt of the graft up to the first 25 square centimeters. So a 15271 means the wound is no bigger than 100 square centimeters and that you prepared 25 square centimeters for receipt of a graft. If we did it here, we said that this is a 6 by 8 wound, so that's 48 square centimeters. And so if we did just the 15271, that wouldn't cover this. What happens if you don't prep the entire wound surface, you don't prep 48 square centimeters of open wound surface, and you apply 48 square centimeters, Medicare will either deny the payment or they'll only pay you for the first 25. So in this case, we do the 15271. In a separate line item, we add an additional 25 square centimeters with 15272. And in this case, we would do 15271, that covers the first 25 square centimeters of the wound. We need to add another 25 square centimeters to get it up to 50, which is about this wound. So 15271 on one line item, 15272 on the second line item. Now, if that wound were a little bit bigger, say 72 square centimeters, you would add another unit of 15272. That doesn't need to be another line item, just up the quantity from 1 to 2. So if this were 72 square centimeters, you do a 15271 that indicates the wound is less than 100 square centimeters and you prepped 25 square centimeters for receipt of a graft. And then you would do 15272 quantity 2 to indicate that you prepped another 50 square centimeters. So now you can put up to 75 square centimeters of graft on this wound, which you prepared for receipt of the graft, and get paid for it. Hope that helps. Thanks.